So my first online venture was, of all things, a niche volleyball website. I remember watching about as much income school video content as I could. I went through the full Hrefs, SEO beginners guides, Neil Patel, Brian Dean, Authority Hackers. All of these resources were kind of my first introduction to starting an online business. And I was studying at the time, just started freelancing as well. And I wrote 30 articles in 30 days and then just let it sit. And for me, it was just utterly magical to watch the the curve of the graph just go up month after month, kind of exactly as described. And that continued for months and years with some ups and downs. And just recently, I sold that sign, which was started some years ago. And so, um, going through that process reminded me of the whole niche website building world. And I was thinking that if I were to ever return to it or to try it again, I would do some things differently. And one of the things that I would definitely do, for those of you who follow the channel, probably no surprise, is organize the whole thing in Notion. So what I've done is I've built a new model, calling it Niche Site OS. And the idea is it has everything that I would want to have in a Notion workspace setup to help me track my keyword research, content creation, any backlinking, tools, project management, tasks, the whole thing. I think Notion actually is kind of a perfect place to plan and keep track of a project like a niche site. So in this video, we're going to walk through that model. I will talk through how I would personally use it. And I really hope if you are building your own niche site, or if you are thinking about it or just getting started, I hope that this can inspire your own approach to it. Or if you want to purchase the model, you can also do that directly. So let's get into the tour. For those of you who have seen some of my other Notion models, the kind of framework and setup should be familiar to you. But if you're new here, just a quick run through of how I tend to build these setups. The main thing to note is the left-hand synced block is our navigation menu. So as you click through this, your menu stays in the same place, and we get to move through our different workspaces, which are linked in various ways. So that's number one in terms of the basics of how this is set up. And then there's also a map. And so the map is just where all of the databases for the model are stored. And so if you are kind of spending all your time in the various workspaces and you're wondering what's the true source of the data, all of the databases are found inside of the map. So that's kind of the high level, get that out of the way first. And now we can start kind of talking about what's in this particular model. So the main sections, this is similar across most of Landmark's models. We have kind of a planning section. We have our actions and things that need to get done. We have a performance section. In this one, there's a business kind of overview, company overview, just for team and contacts. And then there is a tools and help section. And we're just going to go step by step through each of the workspaces and talk about how you might run your niche site in this setup. And for this model, I've tried to be a little bit more specific about, a scenario or like an example of a niche site. And I just chose like crypto Web3 as a potential niche. I didn't really do that much research. I don't know if it would be such a good idea. But there are real keywords and real data with it. So hopefully that makes it a little bit more realistic and helps you imagine how you might use it yourself. So the home dashboard just has kind of a reminder of top keyword opportunities. We have a view of our active projects. So these might be campaigns. So you could have a specific content campaign going on. Maybe it's on a specific topic, or maybe you're starting like a video campaign or a social media campaign. You might have some backlinking projects going on. You might have like a rebuild or something related to your website. Or maybe you have an email campaign project going on. So you can kind of get a high level overview of these projects, and then the progress is related to the tasks that are inside of that project. So we'll get into the actions database and how you can link that. But basically, if I have a couple of tasks linked to this project, if those, when those tasks are completed, you'll see this progress bar update. So I think I should probably just do that now. So let's go to one of these, complete, head back home, and we should have a progress bar update. So that's our projects. We also have a list view, which we can prioritize those projects by. And then we have our Google Analytics dashboard, which is a Data Studio template. So there's some guidance on how you can copy the template, and then it's just a simple matter of like switching your data stream in instead of the dummy data. And this is just a way to have access to kind of the high level Google Analytics stats from your home dashboard. So home dashboard, pretty simple. We can go into our planning section and head start with strategy. So for your niche site, you may want to spend some time thinking about it while you're planning it out before you start. Just kind of think about what is your strategy for building the site. So you can have you can use the SWOT board for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So in this example, this particular niche site's strengths are the keyword research. Maybe they have a particularly strong team. They feel like they're good at that. And then the content quality. So they're not going for mass quantity. One of their strengths is really writing well, or maybe they have some video content and producing that at a really high quality. Some opportunities. Maybe they feel like podcasting and using YouTube is an opportunity to help grow their site. And we're in this crypto finance space, so maybe there are some high commission affiliate programs out there. Their weakness might be low budget, low authority, they're just getting started, and then some threats might be, it's an emerging field. Maybe there are kind of low barriers to entry in terms of the keywords haven't really been fleshed out and won by any big competitors. And then there's also, crypto news cycle moves pretty quickly. So I don't know if that's a threat, but this is just to give an idea of if you are trying to take this niche site that you're building more seriously and you want to develop kind of a clear strategy for how you're going to go about it and differentiate, you can also use this lean canvas model. So that just helps you identify a few key areas of the business. And then you have a notebook to just kind of, flesh out any ideas further. So that's the strategy overview. We then have a section for our personas. I might just refer you to the video covering user personas in more detail. That's a component in our library, and there's a video dedicated to that. But this is just where we could list some more details about the types of people we're trying to attract to our website. Maybe by thinking through the types of problems they have, we might come up with some better keywords for our niche site. We have a competitors section, and this competitors database has been updated and adjusted. It's not the same as the component in the Landmarks Labs library. This is specific to SEO sites and competition. So you see things like domain rating, traffic to these sites, referring domain links, and this is information that you can quickly scrape or grab from a tool like the Ahrefs toolbar, or from even like Keywords Everywhere gives you this information. And you can also fill out more details about your competitors, give them a profile. What are they doing? What is their strategy? Which marketing channels are they active on? So probably SEO, but maybe one of them or a couple of them have a YouTube channel. Maybe some of them have some different social media platforms that they're active on as well. So that's competitors. We can also kind of refer to our competitors section and hone in on our own positioning, but this is not essential. It's just kind of if you really want to go into more detail on the strategy side of your niche site. We also then have just a quick way of kind of consolidating and selecting our monetization model. So are we going to primarily use affiliates? Are we primarily going for advertising networks? Do we have any digital products? Do we have like a subscription access to some content? I mean, if we're talking about kind of bread and butter niche sites, affiliate and ad networks, that's kind of the model. But if you wanted to add some events or some other kind of forms of monetization, you can also keep track of that and hone in on that here. And then we have a forecasting section, which is really just to make it easier for you to start thinking about, what is the timeline for projected growth for the site. So you have kind of monthly traffic as it would go over the next 12 months. You have your revenue and expected revenue growth. So you can adjust the values for these in terms of the commission from affiliate programs that you're using, your click-through rates. Basically, if you have any real data, best to input that into these variables and then see how that affects the graph. If you have any past history on traffic growth month over month, you can use a real figure there. And then you can also refer to, if you're using an ad network, you can adjust this number to be accurate to your revenue per thousand. I always get stuck on that one. So this just kind of, again, it's for me, it's actually, part of the motivating factor is looking at these growth graphs and thinking about, okay, if I really invest down here in content, do the work, then, what is my timeline? In 9 months, 10 months, what's the expected return on this effort? So hopefully that'll help you just kind of quickly do some calculations and get an idea of at what point you will be where with your site. But of course, you can use your own spreadsheets or models if that's better. We have an objectives, or smart objectives, because we're using the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound kind of approach to goal setting. And so for all of our targets, we have some more detail behind it. So, 100,000 page views. We can give it an achievability rating. We can give it a relevance rating, and we can kind of give it a time-bound target. So something like the 100,000 page views, the time-bound, we can check that actually with our forecasting tool here. So if I wanted to join AdThrive and the threshold was 100,000 page views, maybe I could just, instead of traffic, I might just think of this as page views. So maybe I'm at 10,000 currently, and the current growth rate is 20%. I can kind of see that that's not going to get me there, at least in the next year. And I might just kind of project that further. I could actually cheat and say, okay, so January of 2023, I'm at 51.6. So how much further do we need to go at this 20% growth rate? So if I'm starting here, so that would be January, February, March, April, May. It looks like May of 2023, I would be above 100,000 page views. And so I could actually directly kind of, link that to my goal here. Maybe we set the goal for, we check in on this end of May. That's our target. So we can set some SMART goals. We can kind of sort them in different ways because Notion is smart like that. But this is just a place to keep track of our various goals and objectives for the site. Then we have a section or a workspace, a couple of workspaces dedicated to affiliate programs. So we can go out and research various affiliate offers and programs that are relevant to our niche. We can list the commissions that they pay. We can list the status of our own relationship with them. So if we have not contacted them, if we've applied, maybe we were rejected to a couple, maybe we've been accepted and we are active affiliates for a few. This is actually linked to our contacts database. So if there are specific people that we're talking to through that affiliate relationship, we can link them here. And then each affiliate program is likely to have specific products. So something like Amazon affiliate, you might have several or even hundreds of products. So you can actually reference the products database and link all of the products related to each affiliate program. And then you can also just add the website if you want to remind yourself or return to the site of your affiliates. This is, as I said, linked directly to the products list. So this is like a little tab up top. So you have the overview of the affiliates and then you also have your products. And so this is just another database which is listing all of the products of your affiliates. Electric oven, that's actually quite funny for a crypto Web3 finance thing. So Amazon affiliates, you might end up writing some related content, info content around Web3, and maybe it's like, I'm not going to come up with something good off the spot, but maybe you're writing about crypto wallets, and then you do some creative link to like a real leather wallet, and so maybe that's a product. But basically, this is your full products database list, and then this is your list of affiliates that you can keep track of. We also have a section for ad networks. So again, similar process where you can go out, research potential ad networks that you may want to work with. You can list their requirements. So traffic per month is probably a big one. Maybe there are other requirements, so you can click in and you can add some notes to it. You can also give them some more info, but this is most useful on the performance side. So you kind of get a more accurate value for each of these after you start working with any of these ad networks, and we'll be able to track that in the performance analytics section. But this is just a place to list down the various ad networks that we may be interested in working with, maybe setting some requirements, and then again, you can track the status of these various ad networks. We then have a funnel section, which is just, again, it could belong to our strategy section. We're still in kind of our planning phase, and this is just to help us really think through, okay, what are our particular personas going through when they visit the site? What are the endpoints that we want them to reach? So if we go to this table view, you can see some more detail about the stages of the user journey. So for this example, we just have kind of a discovery stage where they come across any of our content, and the endpoints for that might just be as simple as a site visit or a social media impression. We work down through the user stages till we get to a conversion, and this might be purchasing an affiliate product and then referring. That's a step after purchase. Maybe they share one of our articles. Maybe they join our mailing list and they share one of our newsletters to their list as well. But this is just, again, kind of a way to help us think through the various steps, the endpoints and activities that need to happen at each step, and then we can link projects to the various aspects of our user journey. So if the discovery stage, if we think that needs a little bit more work, so the site itself, the experience, or getting content out there distributed across more platforms, we might just directly create a project which is let's give it like a time frame. So let's say July. Let's just do social media campaign, and this is linked to our discovery stage of the user journey. This is just about getting people in at the top of the funnel, and we can create a project. Any tasks that are linked to this particular project. So if I were to say, create first Instagram templates, that's a task. And if I add that, this will be rolled up and it should appear in our user stages as well. So there's a bit of repetition and some redundancy because things are repeating across different workspaces and they're linked in several places. But the point is just kind of when you are in each workspace, you should have all the information you need to think through and make good decisions about where to take your site next. So content is also linked here and endpoints are linked in the funnel. We have a section to help plan out our website. So, you can always do this directly on site. So if you're using WordPress or if you're using Webflow or another site builder, you can always just write your content directly in there. But this is intended to just help you kind of plan and map out your pages, the structure of your site. There's a section to kind of do any specific messaging, and you can also store your design assets that will be used across the website here. Then we have our keywords section, and this is really just a database, but it's going to be referred to obviously a lot, and it's going to be linked out to across various sections of the niche site OS. So this is kind of our main keywords research database. We have properties for volume, cost per click, difficulty, and the priority field is a manual process. So this is actually something that I do. I don't know. I'm not a high level SEO. I don't know if this is good or bad practice, but this is something that I just do personally, which is based on a subjective interpretation, combination of factors, high volume, low difficulty, interesting topic. I will give the keyword a priority. For me personally, it's something I want to write about soon. Then I'll give it HP, high priority, and then working down the list from there. So I'm sure there's a way to automate this if you wanted to calculate some formula which combines the various properties. But this for now, for me, is just a manual prioritization method so that, for example, on the home page, we can see our top priority keywords at the top here. So keywords, it's a database that we're going to be using a lot. We can give it an intent for the keyword, and we can link it directly to our content pieces from the content database. Competitors may also be linked to specific keywords, which can be helpful for understanding the crossover between competitors and the topics and things that we're writing about. And then we also have kind of a section in our content area, which is listing the higher level parent topics for our various content efforts. So that's our keywords table, an important one, but in other ways, quite straightforward. We have a research section. So this can be things that you are reading up on, learning about in the space. It's not like specifically keyword research or specifically backlinking contacts research. It's just for kind of developing and broadening your own knowledge of the space. So interesting resources, reports, tools, and things like this. Now we get into the actions section of the OS, and this is the first piece of this is going to be covering projects or campaigns. These are grouped by or subgrouped by various areas of the site, so things like content, working on the business. Maybe you have a project which is about growing the team or scaling or improving operations or something like this. So you can have projects for different areas of your niche site business. And then this is probably where the list and the prioritization score will be more useful than on the homepage. So you can list project ideas and things that you'd like to work on, but perhaps aren't such a high priority. So let's say you have kind of an idea to improve content creation flow. So maybe that's a project, maybe the area is, it's kind of working on the business, and we can give it a priority score. So what's the cost of doing this? All of these are rated out of 10. And so let's say the cost of doing this, it's really just your time, so it's kind of low. Impact might be quite high. We could give it an 8. And then the urgency, that's kind of up to you where you're at. Maybe we give it a 6. And this, well, there you go. This suddenly becomes the highest priority project on the list. And you can give it an active date so that it appears on your timeline. Make sure you give it an end date. So, we could probably do this in a week as a dedicated sprint. It's already high priority, and we could give ourselves some tasks. So I head back to the timeline, and now under the business, we have this improve our content creation flow project. So you can kind of mix and match, figure out what are the highest priority projects to be working on for the site, and then you can get a high level overview here. And if you want to archive any projects, you can also just hit this, and it will move into the archive section of the projects database. We then have an actions board. So there are two views. There's a priority board, which is going to be tracking the status of your actions and tasks from not started to complete. And then it's subgrouped by priority. So high priority tasks are at the top and lower priority are at the bottom. Stuff on the right is, more complete than stuff on the left. So we can create tasks directly from this board. We might have a new task related to that project, which we just created, which was about the content creation flow. So let's just say, set up a meeting with full team. Wow, what a boring task. But that's already high priority, not started, and we can link it directly from this board to the project that we've just created, which is improve content creation flow. Now, when I switch to task by project, there's a new section, which is for this project that we've just created. And we have our set up a meeting with the full team to discuss this new flow. So that's our actions and priorities board. Again, as soon as you archive a task, it will contribute to the progress bar on the project that it relates to. We have a calendar section, just 2 calendars to track. We have our content calendar, which is showing all types of content, so videos, social media posts, articles, and then we have a meetings calendar. So in the meetings database, there are some preset agendas and templates you can start from. So maybe there's like a daily team stand-up. If you're working with the content team, you can start from that, weekly check-in. You can add the contacts like this if they're not actually part of your Notion workspace, or you can add a property which is person, and then you can invite your team members to the meetings. And then you can also just give some tags to the various meetings. So those are the calendars. We also have a links and backlinking section. This board is actually subgrouped by a property called good fit. So if we go into this demo contact, then you can see there's an association that they belong to, and then there's a fit, which is a 1 to 10 rating, which is just, what is the brand fit and, likelihood of securing this relationship to this particular contact. We have a status for each contact. We have a type. So there are a few different types of contacts in our database, and our link building board is going to be filtered to only show the link building contact. Sorry. We then also have another view, which is just a pipeline of different types of contacts, which may actually not be very relevant. So we can get rid of that. Where are we now? So email, we have a section to just keep track of our email efforts. If you are growing your mailing list and you want to plan some emails, you can have kind of single sent back like to the full list, like a newsletter, and you can also have some recurring automated emails listed here. You can kind of export your open rates and click rates and these things to this table as well, but I personally just use it to plan and write any email content that I want. And then because I have it here, so if I wanted to start a new email, which was just like weekly newsletter, give it a date, then I can, because I'm in this workspace, I can kind of refer to the content that's underway, the stuff that just got done. This is why I kind of like working and having everything in Notion, is because when you're doing stuff and you need to refer to things that are going on in the business, everything is kind of just within a couple of clicks. So that's the email section. We also have a simple workflows gallery. So for things like, if you have an on-page SEO checklist, if you have a video creation process, you can kind of just list the various company workflows in this database here. And then we have our content section. So this is where we can plan in the sense of adding new content ideas across various media types. So articles, we have a videos view, we have a social media view, and then we have another instance of our calendar. So this is where we can kind of keep track of the status of various content pieces that are underway. We also have a section to list and to keep track of our parent topics. So our crypto Web3 niche site, maybe some of the larger parent topics are kind of Web3 design, Web3 investing, and Web3 Wiki, what is Web3, kind of the basics. Finally, in the content section, we have a section for some briefs. So again, if you are working with a team, there is a simple content brief template. So if you were starting a new piece of content, you can just hit new brief. So this would just be a new simple brief, and you could give the name of the article that is being written. I don't know why this is being so slow. It's a simple template, so it shouldn't be. Maybe my Notion is struggling. But this is the brief that you should see. Type, word count, target keyword, and some information about what should be included in the post. So we have moved through actions, and now we are on to performance. And for our performance section, we have a few different actually a couple of dashboards, and then some filtered views of the databases that we have already seen. So I think I mentioned at the top, our Google Analytics dashboard. This is a data studio template. You can access the template and then watch a walkthrough for how to set that up here. And this is just where we can, if we don't want to go to our analytics, we just want to get the high level quick view. We can also filter by dates and do a few things within this embedded view, which is handy. And then we also have a similar setup for our Search Console dashboard. So here you can filter, the filters are date, we can filter by country, and we can filter by device category. If you are handy with Data Studio templates, you can also edit the dashboard, add some new filters as you like. But if you just want to get high level overview, you have access to both of these dashboards in the analytics section. Then our affiliates and ads performance are a little bit simpler, but this is where we can list the performance of various programs. So this is our affiliate programs, and then these will be our ad network. So this is filtering just the ad networks that we have set as active. We can give our RPM, and we can give the revenue for the current month. Financials is also part of performance, and the initial page, the home page, is just showing an overview of any invoices that are underway. We have a revenue and expenses section. So for the revenue table, things like affiliate payouts, ads payouts, maybe any sponsored posts or spots in your newsletter, you may include that as a monetization method, and that may be part of your revenue table. So you can fill that out, and you can also link that to any relevant invoices, and the same for your expenses. So these expenses might include some of the SaaS tools and software that you use to run your business, but it may also include any contractors or payments that you need to make out to your team. We have a cash flow overview. If you wanted to use your own personal data and keep track of everything for cash and bank expenses and income, you can use this if it's helpful. It's just a quick 30-day cash flow just to check that you're not going to go into the red. And then there's also a runway calculator, which is a similar approach or similar kind of idea, concept, making sure you're not running into the negatives. So you can calculate your buffer, but this is just over a longer time horizon, and the units are weeks. So that is the runway, and that's the financial section done. Now the next kind of section is for your team. So if you're working by yourself, as I was, then you can probably ignore this section. But even for things like if you got someone to help with the graphic design of the site, or if you got someone to help with your accounting or anything, you can just list them here and include them as part of the team. And then you can also have a larger list of the contacts. So our contacts database, the properties in our contacts database are the association, the fit, which we talked about, their status, the type of contact. So for this niche site OS, our contacts database has been is including reviewers, so people that may be relevant blogs that are talking about our site, affiliates, subscribers, and link building contacts. So those are the types. You can obviously add your own that are more relevant to your efforts, but those should hopefully be some common types that you need. And this is just a full list of the contacts that you've made in your business. We have a tools section. This is just a database of tools that may or may not be helpful, which you can choose from. The ones that you are actively using, you can favorite, and they will show up in your home dashboard. So I've just favorited Pitch. So when I scroll down here, I can see my favorite tools, and I can just quickly click through to them if I wanted to open a browser and start using a particular tool. And then we have an archive section, which is just if we want to get an overview of all of the content, projects, actions, objectives, and meetings that have been archived, we have a consolidated view in our master archives section. So that is 30 minutes talking through the Niche Site OS. I didn't go into too much detail about, the process of doing keyword research and, running a niche site. Again, I'm not an SEO pro expert. I love SEO. It's a big part of what our strategy is with Landmark Labs. And as I mentioned, I did have a site of my own, but I would highly recommend that you go and check out a few key resources that helped me a lot, which are Authority Hackers, Income School, and the Ahrefs YouTube channel is also quite solid. So if you are on your niche site journey, chances are you've already come across those resources, but I would recommend you go listen to them for the substance of how to run a niche site. And then hopefully this is a helpful overview of how you might use Notion to keep track of everything while you're doing that. Final bit, which I forgot to mention, are these little toggle widgets. If you haven't seen these before, these are just there to help you quickly kind of troubleshoot or solve any problems in your business. So for example, if you wanted to have a quick priority Eisenhower matrix, this little widget lets you create a few different frameworks. So you could create an Eisenhower matrix, add it in. I probably wouldn't do it in here. Just quickly add any tasks that are on your mind. You could do it for pieces of content. You could do it for keywords, whatever the objects are that you need to prioritize. You can access a few different frameworks from this widget, which follows you around in your menu. And then the embeds that you see, we have a Google Ads dashboard, we have a Google Analytics dashboard, there's also a YouTube Analytics dashboard, and the Search Console report I will add to this embeds by the time you access the Niche Site OS. So I think that just about covers it. I hope you will find the Niche Site OS useful if you are building out your own website, whether it is to actually use the model itself or to just get some ideas for how you might plan and organize your site in Notion. That's it for the video. I will see you next time, and thanks again for watching.